on North Metro TV. Alongside Bill Hubb, I'm Matt Dean. We'll be walking you through this one. Should be a fun matchup of two teams, Bill, starting to turn a corner despite what their unassuming records might first say.
Yeah, they had slow starts, both of them, but they're starting to bounce back. Centennial with a big win over number 7 Maple Grove last week, 37-36. They're hoping to continue the momentum. Spring Lake Park, meanwhile, on the other hand, a new coach in Oliver Major. They started out 1-10, but they've been 4-3 ever since and starting to climb the Northwest Suburban Conference standings.
Big win for the Cougars that came on Tuesday night against 7th-ranked Maple Grove. One of the players always a big factor in that Cougar lineup, the talented junior guard, Ty Burgoon.
Ty Burgoon was a big contributor last year for the Cougars. This year, he leads them in all but free throw percentage. He's their leader in every single category, and he is really the straw that stirs the drink for the Centennial team.
Ty Burgoon on the other side, we matched up by Big Bo Johnson, who's averaging a double-double this season and the most consistent player for Spring Lake Park. We talk about both ends.
There's a reason he's going to North Dakota State for football. He's super athletic. He's really quick despite his size, and he is producing. Look at those numbers this year, averaging a double-double for this Panthers team.
Spring Lake Park have won the last 5 meetings against Centennial, the first and only of this cat clash that we've got coming up for you tonight. It's Centennial and Spring Lake Park on North Metro TV.
North Metro TV News is your source for local stories. Highlighting the issues in your community, we bring you the news that's closer to home. Join us as we explore the stories all around us, every day at 2:30, 6:30, and 10:30.
Welcome back into Spring Lake Park High School. We're moments away from the opening tip in this one. The 4-14 Cougars taking on the 5-13 Spring Lake Park Panthers. Centennial coming off, I would say, in the very early head coaching career of Spencer Waldvogel, easily, Bill, their biggest win since he's taken over the helm as head coach.
No doubt about it. First win in 7 seasons against a ranked team. 37-36 over Maple Grove last week. Ty Burgoon leading the way with 16 points. And may have been the lowest point total that the Cougars had all season, but they threw a 2-3 zone at the Crimson that Maple Grove just couldn't figure out.
Love that fiery look from Oliver Major, who's the first-year head coach of SLP. His team got out to a really rough start, Bill. You mentioned 1-10 to begin the year, but they have gone 4-3 since and really starting to play that basketball that Coach Major wants them to. As we look at the starting lineups, Talso, late change. Andrew King is actually going to be not starting. It will be Kyrie Shaw in his place in the usual starting 5 for the Cougars as SLP wins the opening tip. Mikey Say takes it to the basket and lays it in for 2. We're underway with a quick start as Say, the senior point guard who averages 10 a game, lays it in off the glass for the Panthers. Braden Talso nearly forced a steal there for SLP. Last off a number 5 for the Panthers, and this will stay on the Cougar end.
Turnovers could be a factor. They often are in these kind of games between two pretty evenly matched teams. And we'll see Panthers getting early pressure.
Panthers continuing to tinker with that starting lineup a little bit. We mentioned a change from what was initially turned in, but there have been kind of 6 guys that have been pretty consistently among the starting 5 for SLP this year. Drive to the basket by Henry Perner. Big Bo Johnson pulls in his first rebound of the night. He had 15 boards in Tuesday night's effort. The Panthers coming off a loss, 68-71 to Elk River.
Mikey Say, again, aggressively attacking the right wing there, but could not get that one to fall. So far, Panthers in a man-to-man defense to start things.
Here's one of the keys to this game that we're probably going to see tonight, talking with both these head coaches. The pace that Centennial wants to play at, we mentioned they beat Maple Grove the other night. They came out in a 2-3 zone, very uncharacteristic of what we're used to seeing from the Cougars. SLP are a team who probably want this game to be played up and down the floor at a quicker pace.
Yeah, Panthers have a lot of athletes, but Centennial wants this game played in the half court, limit the number of possessions, and credit to Spencer Waldvogel for being innovative and switching things up a little bit.
Nice cut to the basket by Driesen as he is blocked. And the Panthers run the floor on cue. Remy misses under the basket, but a putback laid in for Bo Johnson. A big offensive board, and it is a 4-0 Panther run to start the night. Quick trigger three in the other end. Centennial answers. Jackson Driesen, the sophomore, who has started to find his way, really shoot his way into a starting role for Coach Waldvogel. He had made a three-pointer in 10 straight games until he did not knock one in from downtown on Tuesday. Here's Kyrie Shaw with the answer for SLP. Shaw, really talented athlete, averages 8 a game, and a football player who's committed to play D3 for UW Stout next year. Centennial able to looking for an answer here. A little step back from beyond the arc. Jackson Driesen has been the offense for Centennial in the early goings. Back-to-back threes. It's now 7-6 SLP. Talso with the corner look. He knocks it down for the Panthers.
Jeez, I can't even catch our breath here. The threes have been raining in.
Miss under the basket by Henry Perner. Hauled in by the Panthers. They get it up and down the floor, and a travel on Mikey Say, turning it over for SLP, and now both these teams have a chance to catch a breather. Cougars coming off that massive win we mentioned against 7th-ranked Maple Grove. It was the Cougars' first top 10 win in 7 years. That victory back in 2016 against Maple Grove, their last against a top 10 opponent, and the last time they beat Maple Grove. As once again, it is Jackson Driesen putting on a show in the early goings. The 10th grader has got 3 made threes, has not missed. Here's Say with the runner on the other end for SLP.
Back and forth these two teams go. 21 points in the first 3 minutes. The pace ferocious, the three-point shooting on fire so far, led by Driesen.
Jacob Hosfield trying to drive it along the baseline. He was the early substitution for Centennial, gets knocked out of bounds and stays here on the Cougar end. 14-13 left to play in the first half. It has been a fast-paced start. Panthers in front, but Centennial hanging around because of 3 threes from the sophomore Jackson Driesen. Here's a steal, stripped away by Shaw. He's got the lane to the basket. Good backtracking by Josh Lee to come up with the stop, knock it out of bounds. This will stay on SLP's end. Shaw looked like he had a clean lane to the basket and a great closeout and a block from Josh Lee, the junior.
Shaw with a three-pointer and some active defense rewarding the start tonight.
Johnson tries to post up underneath and a little bit too strong there. A good defense by Lee. Again, a rim protector for the Cougars. 6'3" junior forward. That one hit the deck. Cougars able to pick it up. Burgoon drives inside, kicks out, deflected out of bounds by Shaw, and it's Cougar basketball here.
You know, Driesen.
Spring Lake Park, who started the season 0-7, which was the beginning of the head coaching career for Oliver Major. They've really started to turn things around as of late. 5-6 since the new year, and 4-3 since they got out to a horrendous 1-10 start. Talso comes up with a block, denying Driesen around the three-point arc. Talso can't finish on the other end, but pulls in his own miss. And a steal as it's taken away by Hosfield, who will settle it down for the Cougars. What a start we've had here at the pace of the game.
Tried to skip past there, did Kyrie Shaw, but it just slipped out of his hands and popped right in the air to a grateful Hosfield.
Hosfield, one of several sophomores in the lineup. Good look for DiAgostino, a little bit off the line, and a rebound pulled down by Bo Johnson. He's got at least 3 in the early proceedings, averages 10-6 a game off the glass. Shaw will draw the contact and get to the line for SLP.
Kyrie Shaw continuing to be aggressive out there as they are attacking the rim, not settling for jumpers in the early going.
They're going to get DiAgostino, the sophomore, for his first personal, first foul of the game from either team. Substitutions come on for both teams. Andrew King, the leading scorer for Spring Lake Park, among them. And they're also going to bring in Freddie Anthony, who's a great story, a senior who figured to be one of the major contributors for the Panthers coming into this year. After they lost 4 of their top 5 scorers from a season ago, Anthony broke his left arm in a car accident just before the start of the season. He's been slowly coming back. Here's a 3 ripped in from Ty Burgoon. It's going to draw a timeout coming from the Spring Lake Park side and Oliver Major. We got our first stoppage here with 12:47 left to go. The threes are raining from Centennial, who've got 4 of them to keep pace just about with SLP.
Yeah, Centennial 1 from Burgoon and 3 from Driesen. Driesen coming into the season, averaging, into the game, I should say, averaging 36% from beyond the arc, but the sophomore already 2 points above his season average with 9 points in the first half. And they're going to need more than just Ty Burgoon to win this game. They're going to need offensive contributions from other players. Maybe that player tonight is going to be Jackson Driesen.
So the highlighter colors behind in the student section not affecting the three-point shot seemingly for Centennial so far, despite what you might think.
No, not so far. Good to see Freddie Anthony out there, like you said, senior who was expected to be the starting point guard, just kind of working his way back from the broken arm.
Jump of the passing lane, nearly taking it away for his steal was Hosfield. He had to pitch it back in. Here's Shaw with the look from distance, and it's in and out for Spring Lake Park. It'll stay on the Panther end, batted around, last off of Burgoon for Centennial. 12:28 left to go. 2-point lead for the Panthers, who thus far have been led by 5 from Kyrie Shaw.
As you take a look at Brock Remy, whose older brother Blake, second leading scorer in SLP history.
Here's Say. Oh, he connects on the triple. Mikey Say, the Say kid, he has gotten 7 so far for Spring Lake Park. Junior averaging 10 a game. And we have got a really great start to this one here. So there's going to be a foul on the floor, and they're going to get Shaw for his first for Spring Lake Park, first of any kind, going against the Panthers in an inbound play here for Centennial.
Yeah, as you see here, Shaw just reaching in. Didn't need to do that. Could have just walled him off along the baseline, but he picks up the personal.
Couple of stutter steps before it's shuttled along here to Hosfield to the top of the wheel. Handoff exchange to get it to Kellen Binder, who tries to work down low. Binder, they'll say, traveled, and Centennial turns it over, the sophomore forward. This Centennial team, you're going to hear us say sophomore and junior quite a bit. On the varsity roster, the Cougars only have 2 seniors, only one who really sees action in the regular rotation, and that's the senior forward, number 22, Henry Perner. So it feels like this really a building block year for Spencer Waldvogel as Burgoon, the junior, takes it away. Easy bunny right at the rim. 5 points for Ty Burgoon, leading scorer for Centennial, averaging 15-4 a game.
Burgoon read that so well that he didn't even use the right hand, the near hand, to steal it, but still got the swipe and turned it into 2 down at the other end. Leads this team in one of many categories, including points and steals.
Here's Remy up top. Junior averaging 9 a game. Hands it off to Freddie Anthony. Only has played 10 minutes, number 24, the last 3 games since coming back from that injury. Senior who is one of the big contributors in the rotation for the Panthers last year. SLP turning over a lot of their roster and losing 4 of their top 5 scorers. Good to see Anthony back on the floor. Say with a heat check 3. That rattles in. Mikey Say gets to 10 inside the opening 8 minutes, and SLP opens up a 20-14 lead.
He's got half of the Panthers' points, and he is feeling it, confident here on Parents' Night.
Burgoon off to Hosfield, and also got Kellen Binder out on the floor. Jackson Driesen had been red hot to start the night, carrying the offense for Centennial. Here's the sophomore with it. Inside to Binder, kick out. Driesen will try again. Jackson Driesen. It's a 1v1 mano-a-mano matchup. Driesen against Mikey Say of SLP in a 3-point battle.
4 for 4 now from beyond the arc.
Shaw with a tough shot up at the rim. Can't get it to go. Panthers nearly force a steal. Burgoon with an open look from 3. Too strong. Pulled down on the rebound by Say. Panthers get it up the floor with King. He'll feed it inside to Remy. Remy trying to back down his man. Remy walked with it as he was defended by Charlie Augustine, a sophomore who's been getting elevated minutes for Centennial as of late. And the Cougars will make a change as they take Jacob Hosfield off the floor and bring in Big Timmy Ball, the 6'2 junior.
If there's a concern so far for Coach Major, it's that Panthers have turned the basketball over 4 times already in this half.
Foul here. Shaw's going to get caught reaching in on that passing lane, and something to monitor as number 33, the senior, has now got 2 for the Panthers. Shaw is going to come out, and he will be replaced by Tristan West, number 25. Shaw sitting with a couple of early infractions. Here's Augustine dribbling around the perimeter, finds Driesen. You gotta find the shooter on the edge right now. Driesen, as we said, got 4 made threes already. And it's off to Ball, worked back around to the far side corner. Binder wants to drive inside, pulls up at the elbow, nearly knocked out by West. It will go off of West's hands last, number 25 for SLP. And
I remember seeing West last year on JV, and he was a big talkative character. Obviously has good size. He's a good athlete, and he could be a valuable contributor off the bench if he stays disciplined and does his assignments.
Driesen faked the 3, tried to pitch it inside, turns it over for Centennial. And here it's with West working a 2-man game here in the near side with Bo Johnson. Johnson trying to back down Ball. He'll kick it out instead. Rotate it on to Say. Say is going to be fouled commit a foul offensively against the Panthers, turning things over here with 8:35 to go.
Chicken wing, definitely Burgoon, flung himself back, accentuating the contact, but certainly Mikey Say got his arm out there, and 5th turnover of the half now on SLP.
First foul for Say, 3 for the Panthers. Early, high off the window from Driesen. They'll say he was fouled, and that'll send number 21 to the line.
And the reason I reacted is because it was a late call. The whistle came in late. Great backdoor feed to Driesen, who's just been everywhere in this first half, and now takes his first trip to the foul line.
West picks up the foul for the Panthers. Driesen out to this red-hot start to begin the evening for the Cougars. He is now 7 of 17 from the charity stripe this year. 13 points. His largest game of the year in terms of scoring was 17 against Blaine. That was coincidentally a game on North Metro TV back on January the 6th, so maybe the sophomore he shines under the bright lights of community television.
He knows when Matt Dean is in the house as Burgoon gets another steal.
Burgoon, runner at the rim. That might have been deflected, I thought, on its way up. Maybe just a touch. Burgoon able to kiss it in off the glass. 7 right now, 2nd on the Cougars behind Driesen.
He just reads the passing lane so well, and he jumps right in them. 2nd steal of the game that he's converted into points.
Here's a look from the top of the key. Goes out from Miles Thompson. Burgoon leads the Cougars in just about every category. Steals among them, where he averages 2 a game. Bo Johnson with a denial underneath the basket to swat it out off of Ty Burgoon.
For all you kids out there, Ty Burgoon, and watching him play, kind of floppy-haired, active, very much a poor man's Jeff Hornacek.
Halftime made to look a little poor there as Bo Johnson came up with a big stuff for SLP. Ball inside, dragged his pivot foot just a little bit, and turns it over for Centennial with 7:30 left to go.
Cougars have battled back. They were down 20-14 at one point, but now tied 20-20, and we thought it was going to be a back-and-forth affair, and thus far it has been exactly that.
Driesen, Say, Johnson, Talso, and West on the floor. As that's stolen away by Binder. Did he step out on that far side touch line? He did, and that's going to turn it over back for an SLP ball.
Teams trading turnovers there. 3 now on Centennial.
We have played over 10 minutes now into the first half. Mikey Say tries to get the stroke from deep going again. Too strong. Rebound is pulled in, but a whistle as they're going to get one of the Panthers for it. That is West picking up his second.
So can he come in? Can West come in and stay out of foul trouble? You see just a little bit of a shove in the back. Not much. Kind of a you know, soft foul, but you got to be careful when you get those arms extended.
This is ball guarded by Johnson. A couple of football players trying to bang down low there as it gets rotated back around to Ty Burgoon. Burgoon picks it up and touches back up with Ball. Ball tries to go downhill. They will call a block on Centennial and get Ty Burgoon, I think, for that flop there. That's going to be the junior's first. He kind of went down a little bit soft as he ran into a screen, and he's going to turn it over once again for the Cougars.
Karma for that foul on the other end.
With the substitution before the ball returns to play.
Miles Thompson in at point guard now. Thompson, I should say, his brother was a star last year, Peyton.
Nice feed down low to get it to Ashton Tucker, senior, who averages 2.7 a game his first varsity season.
SLP getting contributions all over the place, including off the bench.
Oliver Major had some questions about that call going against Spring Lake Park. They're going to give it to Mikey Say, his second, and that will force a substitution over on the SLP bench as Say will sit.
So now West and Say with 2 fouls apiece. Luckily for Oliver Major, he's been going 9 or 10, 11 deep in this game so far. So plenty of depth out there. Although Say has been good, so that's a pretty critical call right there.
Josh Lee takes it right around the screen from Ball. Rotates out to Burgoon. Back to Lee. He's blocked on the perimeter as he's closed out by Tucker, but it's batted back around and gets back into the hands of the Cougars.
Tucker was throwing down windmill dunks in warm-up, so you know he's got the ups. And obviously a very quick leaper, which he demonstrated right there.
Good job by Braden Talso to jump the passing lane, denial the feed to Burgoon. It's going to stay on the Centennial end. Talso, who head coach Oliver Major called the Panthers' most consistent defender. The shooting's been a little up and down this year, but Talso, a 3-sport athlete, is really kind of a know-what-you're-going-to-get guy on this end of the floor and an important piece of the Spring Lake Park unit. That's Talso guarding Burgoon, kind of led to the steal as it ended up being a takeaway by Tucker, and it's pulled down on the rebound by Talso after the Remy miss. They'll try from 3, and that connects from Miles Thompson. SLP drills their third, make it 4th three-pointer of the night. And an answer from Ty Burgoon under the basket. It's a couple back now for Centennial.
With that 3 from Thompson, now 4 different Panthers having made 3s.
Heat check shot. Thompson again, rebounded by the Cougars as it's taken up the floor by Driesen. Driesen will try a long 3, too strong that time. Driesen started out hot, and D'Agostino will follow as he gets onto the score sheet for Centennial.
Can barely keep track of all the 3s raining down, and just watching Ty Burgoon, you can really see why he's kind of a stat sheet stuffer for Centennial, the way he's involved in just about everything.
Here's Talso, good ball movement by the Panthers, and Talso cashes in his second tray for SLP. That's now 5 for the Panthers, 5 for the Cougars from downtown so far to begin the game. Ball gets downhill. Nice job to power through the block attempt by Remy. And Timmy Ball, the tough inside linebacker in the football gridiron.
Once that ball gets rolling, there's no stopping it. Head of steam from the top of the key.
That's Talso flipping it into Bo Johnson over ball, and Johnson is fouled as he will head to the line now for Spring Lake Park.
You know, Matt, it's hard to argue with any of their offensive approaches tonight because they've just been draining threes. But Bo Johnson is the biggest player on the court. So maybe if you're going to change anything in the half-court offense for SLP, you try to get the big man the ball down on the block.
Yeah, but so much of the offense so far, and particularly from the Panthers, coming in transition right now. Johnson, unsurprisingly, is the guy who leads the Panthers in trips to the line. He will go 2 for 2 here.
He's got a nice
75% foul shooter, yeah. Inside 4 minutes left to play. Cougars take it up in a hurry, driving on Johnson. Tough shot in the fadeaway from Hosfield, no good. And the Panthers with an immediate response as Brock Remy lays it in off the window.
First time Remy's gotten on the board, one of the better scorers for this Panthers team. They are just getting out in a hurry, and it's all starting on the defensive end, the way they're rebounding and the way they're getting their hands on the basketball.
Yeah, with Spring Lake Park, I mean, it's a good sign to see them already have 7 players on the score sheet tonight. Talking with Oliver Major, he said they're not a team that's oftentimes going to have a guy who's scoring 30, 40 a night. It has happened a couple times this year, but he says when they've done it, here is Driesen, stays red hot for Centennial. When SLP are succeeding, they're sharing the basketball, they're playing fast, but that doesn't necessarily mean shooting it right away in the possession. Bo Johnson powers his way through the basket. 6 for SLP tonight. We've got inside 3 to play till halftime.
Johnson was just in the perfect space on the block, and after Thompson lost the basketball, went right to Johnson, and he put it in.
DiAgostino from the corner, in and out. Panthers have led since the start of the night when they went up 4-0. Talso will throw it away. It's going to be an over and back violation against SLP, turning it back over to Centennial.
That hurts doubly because Talso had Remy open under the basket. If he had just found him, he doesn't find him, and he said he tries to reset the offense back at the top of the key, and he throws it away and turns it over.
Talso normally good ball handler for the Panthers. Mikey Say takes a lot of the point guard duties. But Talso here with a steal. He'll run it at the rim, lay it in for 2. Talso's got 8. The quarterback of the SLP football team. 2:17 left to go now until halftime.
Yeah, he is being disruptive on the defensive end, and again, leading to points.
Guess who? Jackson Driesen. Another 3. A season-high 19 points with 6 made threes from the sophomore tonight. Unbelievable.
I mean, if you're him, why not? Why just shoot every? You know, you're feeling it. 6 of 7 now. The one a real long heat check 3. The one miss.
Johnson tried to kind of go behind the back with the feed inside. Remy driving toward the basket. Remy puts it up. They'll say an offensive foul. Did they say he stepped out of bounds on the baseline?
I think he stepped out of bounds. But credit to Driesen, who dug down from his corner defensive position, knocked it out of Remy's hands initially, and that led to the turnover. 8 now in this half for Spring Lake Park.
Undoubtedly, the story tonight is Jackson Driesen. 6 threes. He is 6 of 8 from beyond the arc. And had a chance to chat with Spencer Waldvogel a little bit, and one of the big changes since I last saw Centennial, as they've changed up their starting lineup a little bit significantly. They've condensed their bench a little bit, and Jackson Driesen is probably the most notable change where he has shot his way into a starting role. That has obviously paid dividends and then some tonight. He's just a sophomore. Here is a feed inside. It's 21 and 21 crime as Driesen blocked Thompson, and the Panthers turn it right back over, and pitched inside off of Perner's hands and out, and a back-to-back turnovers from each team here as we're inside a minute left to play. Driesen at times will come out, and his head coach was talking, sometimes get a little bit nervous. He's still new to varsity basketball. It can take him a little bit of time to get going. It took him no time to get going tonight, as he is being paid extra mind to out on the perimeter now by the SLP defense.
Incredible. 19 first half points for Driesen, and he's the reason Centennial is still in this game. The Spring Lake Park's been red hot from the field themselves.
Turner will open it up in a cut, and that is Jackson Driesen again. You got to give him something, and that an easy layup right under the basket. Inside 30 to play as SLP looks for an answer. Turnaround jumper from Remy, no.
First non-3-point field goal made of the night by Driesen. He's got 21 of Centennial's 35.
Hosfield holds it as Centennial will hang on to it presumably for the last shot here. DiAgostino passed up the three, drives inside with 2 to play, chucks it up, no good, and that will take us to halftime as Spring Lake Park led from the start, never trailed, but it is still just a 1-point game with still 18 to play here in the Panther Gym.
Wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing this song. Wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
breath yet from that first half. 36-35, two teams shooting the lights out, fun atmosphere, and just great high school basketball to take in a frenetic opening 18 minutes. Fill up as we take a look at those highlights.
The threes were raining down from Kyrie Shaw and everyone else, but mostly from Jackson Driesen. 6 3-pointers in the first half, on his way to 21 points. Here you see a couple. Mikey Say trying to do his part with a couple threes in double figures to keep them even. Jack DiAgostino joining the party, but the three-point shooting was a complete clinic in this first half, and Jackson Driesen adding one late to pull the Cougars within one, and that's where we stand at halftime.
Breaking out a few dance moves in between when we had time. These two teams combined for 14 made threes in the first half. Both teams shot above 55% from beyond the arc. Both teams were 13 of 25 overall from the floor, shooting 52%. There were not a lot of misses out there in that first half of basketball.
No, the pace was frenetic, probably favoring Spring Lake Park. We'll see 7 turnovers for Centennial in the first half, 9 for Spring Lake Park. So which team can take care of the basketball a little better? And be interesting to talk to both coaches to just see what they thought of the first half, and if they wanted the play to continue like that, or not much you could say about really good shooting, but how do they want the pace to change and the offensive approach to change? Because the defense obviously needs to do a little bit better here in the second half.
Well, you mentioned, Bill, I mean, it probably favors Spring Lake Park a little bit. This is more so the pace they want to play the game at. Centennial's probably pretty far down in this game had it not been for an incredible shooting start from Driesen, who basically was the offense. 21 of the 35 in the first half for the Cougars. So Oliver Major, I think, sitting a little bit more comfortably on the SLP bench if we had to guess, and it is not comfortable though with how well the Cougars were shooting the lights out on the other side. And here's the sophomore, number 21, sitting right in front of us, who had the half of basketball of his career. A career-high 19 points before halftime. And he loses it underneath the basket on the interior feed. The Panthers run the floor. Mikey Say with a miss. And it's going to stay on SLP's end, and we're right back to that blistering start that we had. Say led SLP with 10 points in the first half on 4 of 5 shooting.
Say getting out in transition. Great backdoor cut by Driesen, but he just couldn't handle it. And right there, we're talking about valuing the basketball.
Here's Remy with the look from 3. Bo Johnson pulls down the offensive rebound. The hook shot beautifully run through by big number 54. Johnson, as we talked about, is a football commit to NDSU. He looks like a basketball player out there, Bill.
Yeah, he's pretty lean and mean, and they're going to have to do some work to put some weight on him, but he does have the frame for it.
And he just looks smooth as a scorer. Braden Talso glides to the basket, to get him to double digits tonight.
Yeah, Centennial already a couple turnovers in this half. Talso, just how quickly did he transition from defense to offense right there?
Talso's got 10, Say has 10, and now Johnson with 8. The leaders for the Panthers.
Very balanced scoring for the Panthers, and that's how they like it. 7 guys already in the score sheet, as you said.
Here it's with Jackson Driesen. Talso going to be velcroed to his hip. He'll pull up from 3, a little bit strong. Remy pulls down the offensive rebound, so we'll see how things sit for Driesen as he comes out here to start the second half. You do not mind that shot with the way he played in the first half.
No, but if he cools off, it could be an opportunity for Spring Lake Park to start to pull away as the charge taken underneath against Johnson. Again, I think probably a little bit of a flop.
Josh Lee draws the charge. Isn't it always a little bit of an acting job when you're a guy who takes charges? And hey, look, I don't blame Josh Lee. If Bo Johnson was backing me down, I'm not trying to hold my ground. I'm going down. There's a strip and a steal by Bo Johnson, and they'll say a foul, pulling the play back here, and they'll say that Johnson kicked out the elbow to force that steal. and the infraction's going to go against number 54.
They're actually going to give credit to the steal for Johnson, but Burgoon tried to swoop in on his wing, and he shoved him down like he was stiff-arming him. We'll see here, great replay here as Burgoon goes down, gets his feet tangled up a little bit, and Johnson commits his second foul of the half already.
You always hear about it with big guys, like especially in the NBA, where they kick out sort of an arm inadvertently, and because they're so much taller than everybody else, your elbow level's head level for everybody else. Here is Burgoon, gets the stroke going and knocks it down from 3. A dozen for Ty Burgoon. It looked like Johnson just extended that arm a little bit too much to get the benefit of the doubt.
Well, he's lucky he didn't get called for a hook there with his elbow. Recovers nicely, though.
Dishes it off to Shaw, who tries to put it up, follows his own miss. He's fouled, but before the act of shooting the second time.
Oliver Major livid on the sidelines that initial call wasn't made. As you see here, Johnson spinning, kind of hooking that elbow, but
no hook for me there.
No, I think it was a good non-call. I think the refs have done a nice job tonight.
Try from 3 is off the line. Talso will go again. Talso will hit it again. 13 points for Braden Talso as he knocks down his third 3 of the evening.
You know, you don't often see a right-handed shooter go left with the jab step, but that's what he did right there to give himself a little bit of space, and he cans another triple. And that is the perfect description for that shot because it kind of rattled in. I think cans the perfect verb to describe how that shot went down from Talso, if I don't say so myself.
I just like how it sounds, but I'm glad that the description fit. Here is Talso just picked up his first personal for SLP. Worked along to D'Agostino in the corner. They get it back up top, stepping into the 3. Ty Burgoon. It looked good out of the hand. It had the result nothing but twine for Ty Burgoon. 15 points for the junior. The leading scorer for the Cougars is at his per-game average. Mikey Say puts up a floater and is fouled. He will head to the line now for SLP as Burgoon just picked up his second after knocking down the tray.
Burgoon, you got to love the confidence for him to step back, and as Driesen's scoring has kind of cooled off a little bit, Burgoon hoping to pick up the slack for Centennial.
They've got that up as the 3rd foul against Burgoon on the board. Spencer Waldvogel looks on, the second-year head coach of the Cougars. Fun coaching matchup, but 2 guys who are in relatively new roles, but both guys who really have been familiar with these programs as an assistant in the staff for a long time before stepping into the head coach roles. Oliver Major, who is a longtime assistant of Grant Guzzies, who is the head coach for over 30 seasons here at SLP. And then you got Spencer Waldvogel, who was the JV coach the last few years and gets to take the reins in what is now his 2nd season on the Centennial bench.
Yeah, and you know, it takes time to build a program, to instill your style of play, your culture. So hopefully these coaches in their new roles get some time to work with these kids and develop a program.
Bo Johnson backing down his defender. It was bully ball. Henry Perner posted up, no chance. 10 points now for Bo Johnson. He averages a double-double, 10-6 and 10-6 per game. Here's Burgoon driving. Nice kick out to D'Agostino. He skips it back. Burgoon will feed it inside. Jacob Hosfield takes it back to Burgoon, who will settle it down. 4 minutes gone now here in the second half. It feels like it's been played at a much slower pace. I mean, it just felt like an unsustainable pace in the first half as that is chucked up by Hosfield. A whistle, and the Cougars will shoot 2 here as Johnson just picked up his 3rd individually.
3rd foul of the half already on Johnson, so he'll probably have to sit. And he would have been fine if he just stayed straight up and down, but he reached down, and that's going to get a call every time.
He should have just kept his hands straight up.
Yeah, straight up. Exactly.
Well, I mean, but show the ref and try to pretend like he kept his hands straight up, because that always works.
Yeah, he's got to go out, and so you get a little bit smaller with Andrew King coming in. And Johnson clearly frustrated. Of course, 2 of those player control fouls on the offensive end.
Surprising that Andrew King, the leading scorer as Hosfield goes 1 for 2 there. Did not attempt a shot in the first half. Number 11, who traditionally had been in the starting 5 for Oliver Major this year, coming in as you said, Bill, to replace Johnson.
Yeah, one of the few full-time basketball players, or year-round basketball players, I should say. But yeah, he's been a non-factor, and SLP still leads.
Circus shot from Say, trying to get to the rim a little off script. Here's Burgoon in transition. Perner driving now, one of the rare seniors in the lineup. And they swing it back around. D'Agostino, post touch inside to Perner. Good basketball from the Cougars, getting it in and out. And now a try from Burgoon, just off to the left of the wheel, no good.
Not a bad shot, well worked from Centennial. Oh, good defense from behind by Perner, poking it free from Say.
It'll stay on the Panther end. Just over 13 minutes left to play. This has been a competitive basketball game, back and forth. You see that strip from behind, nicely done, as we said, from Perner. Believe it or not, we have not had any lead changes in the game. SLP scored the first bucket, have not trailed all night.
That foul right there on Perner again, number 22 on the hold.
Neither team has broken out a lead of double digits here tonight.
Yeah, it's been kind of nip and tuck, 5-point lead here and there. SLP has been in control, but Centennial hanging around.
Say might have kept that pivot foot down just enough, kind of on the step back. Misses the shot. Pulled in by Burgoon, who settles it down now for the Cougars. He'll go the opposite way, the screen, and open it up down low. Great pass to Jacob Hosfield with his first made field goal of the night. And Burgoon can do a lot more than just score.
100%. He drew the defense, dropped a little pocket pass to Hosfield, and he made him pay. Centennial hanging around, like we said. And SLP forced to take a timeout to retain possession.
Oliver Major wanted to talk things over here with the Panthers. We've seen that pace diminish a little bit, so maybe SLP wants to get this to be a little bit more of a track meet like it was in the first half. We were talking about Ty Burgoon, Bill, and he's really gotten back to his scoring ways the last few games. He had a little bit of a slow stretch, 22 points in the previous 4 before this recent 3-game tear. Spencer Waldvogel thought one of his best games of the year was when he did not score double digits, but he had 7 assists and was setting up his teammates, and Waldvogel just walked away from the gym not really knowing what the scoring total was and just thought that was one of the best games he played all year. So Burgoon can impact this game even when he's not scoring.
Well, anytime you lead the team in as many categories as he does, rebounds, assists, steals, made 3-point field goals, you know you're impacting the game in every kind of different which way, and that allows you to still have an impact despite not scoring even when your shot's not falling.
Shaw tries to put it up and a little bit too strong. That being said, Burgoon has scored tonight. 9 in the first half. He's up to 15. Number 2, the 6-foot junior, leading the way. Here's Perner driving inside. He's denied on a block by Remy. Worked out the floor by Spring Lake Park. The bucket and the foul. Andrew King with a 3, and he'll go to the line to the chance at a 4-point play.
King, you wonder if that shoulder is bothering him. Maybe that's the reason he hasn't played as much tonight, but you see him go to the corner. Great find from Mikey Say to draw the defense, finds King, and then Burgoon just a little bit out of control on the closeout, and he fouls King. Didn't agree with it, but King with a chance for a 4-point play.
Yeah, we see that nice look of the find that you mentioned from Say, who basically got thrust into the starting point guard role this year because of the injury to Freddie Anthony, who we were talking about. We got to see come back into action a little bit. That broken arm sustained in a car wreck just before the start of the season. But Say's been a good point guard for the Panthers. That one launched up by Driesen, trying to find that first half stroke again. Panthers will get it going in transition. Talso off the window, another perfectly, surgically executed transition bucket for the Panthers.
That is some of the best basketball you're going to see all year, Matt. That was 4 passes, ping, 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 up for Talso to get a layup. That did not touch the floor once, and that is such unselfish play from the Panthers right there in transition. That was absolutely beautiful, and now they're out to, their largest lead, maybe of the game at 9.
Yeah, 9 points. That is for sure the largest lead of the game for Centennial. We're at SLP, we should say. As the Cougars inbounded here, Timmy Ball wheels back out beyond the arc. Able to thread it through. And now it's with D'Agostino. He's guarded by Say, picked up his dribble, nearly turned that over. Somehow it threaded through to Kellen Binder. Binder, who made the jump from 9A to varsity this year. A 6'4" sophomore forward. Going the opposite way of the screen and driving is Charlie Augustine. Kick back out and they set it up with Ball. Here's the Cougars trying to play that half-court game.
Centennial just looks totally out of sync offensively, especially without Burgoon out there who's getting a brief rest. They really have nowhere to go, and Driesen's going to back it out. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him go and try to get this shot.
Tries to shake loose of Talso, who's maybe the top defender at the guard position for the Panthers, who is tasked with handling him. Still looking for his first basket after drilling in 19 points in the first half. Here's Talso guarding Driesen, who is really not giving him any room.
What defense from Talso. The multiple efforts to stay in front of Driesen, and the crowd here is loving it.
He'll try again. Driesen forces up a tough shot, deflected back after the miss, and an offensive foul going to turn it over.
No, Driesen caught it on the line. It was knocked right back to him, but his foot was on the line, and that's the deserved result from that outstanding effort defensively for Spring Lake Park.
10 minutes, 3 seconds left to go here in the second half. Not yet seeing any movement over there in the bench from number 2, Ty Burgoon. You said, Bill, the Cougars just have not looked the same without him on the floor. Easy bucket for Miles Thompson, and a timeout coming from Spencer Waldvogel and Centennial to talk things over here with 9:52 to play.
It is slipping away from Centennial right now. They don't have anyone to go to other than Burgoon offensively because Driesen's shot has gone cold, and you kind of expected that, right? There's no way he was going to be able to stay that hot, and sure enough, that's what is exactly what's happened, and Spring Lake Park really starting to pull away. Largest lead of the game here at 11.
And right now, Centennial trying to dig their way out of a hole, which would be, if they can't turn it around, their 6th consecutive defeat to the Panthers.
They'd fall to 0-10 on the road as well.
Yeah, still looking for their first road victory as well, too. And Panthers, this has been a pretty ugly series, to be quite frank, in recent years. 30-plus point wins by SLP the last 3 years. They've won 5 straight. Centennial won the first 3 in this new rivalry series after the Panthers joined the Northwest Suburban Conference. So 5-3 in the all-time series favoring the Panthers.
Yeah, and SLP is, as we know, it had a really historically strong program. You look at that 2016 team, the 2020 team, and they've had some real stars. The difference this year with the Panthers, Oliver Major, obviously a new head coach. There's not one big star, right? There's not one obvious stud that's going to play at the next level. You have real team basketball that goes 9-10 deep.
That 2016 season you mentioned, Oliver Major was the state assistant coach of the year on Grant Guzzi's staff. So he has been a part of some winning basketball here at SLP before taking the head coaching job this season. 9:33 left to go. Driesen driving. They rotate it back around to Charlie Augustine, who tries to chuck it up. Surprised not to see Ty Burgoon come back out on the floor after that timeout. Talso, cold on the stroke that time from 3. Offensive rebound for a moment was pulled in by Tucker, but this will go out and be Cougar basketball.
First turnover of the half by my count for the Panthers after they turned it over 9 times in the first half. And yeah, Burgoon continuing to sit, and right there Centennial out of the timeout went 5 out and drove. We'll see if they continue to do that and try to spread the floor.
Charlie Augustine, a 6'2" sophomore guard, been playing a lot more for Spencer Waldvogel the last handful of weeks. Was taking it up the floor for the Cougars. Now it's with D'Agostino. Nearly lost it on the handle. He'll try again. Working it out to the corner, or it's with Binder. Jackson Driesen here.
You know, Matt, it just doesn't look like anyone really wants the basketball and is looking to score. Everyone's kind of looking to get rid of it. not a lot of confidence out there offensively right now. They need Dreesen to refine his shooting touch from the first half.
Got King, Tucker, Anthony out on the floor for SLP, and a block as Remy comes up with his second swat of the game. Shaking and Bacon, stepping back for the three, in and out from Ashton Tucker that time for Spring Lake Park.
But you know what I mean? There's just not a lot of belief when they start those dribble drives and they get cut off.
Yeah, it is just looked like it's grinded to a halt. Timmy Paul trying to provide a spark on that spin to the basket, but he's called for a walk, and another turnover by the Cougars. 8 minutes left to play now.
Oh wow, I thought he was going to the line. I don't know about that call, but Tim Ball showing the twinkle toes, but called for the travel, as you said. 6th turnover of the half now on Centennial.
When Timmy Ball walks out onto the floor, like, he looks like a football player, but again, a little bit of shades of Bo Johnson. He starts moving his feet out there, and these are true two-sport athletes facing up here down low between those two.
Yeah, you can just picture him tracking an inside handoff from his inside linebacker position, and right there, I think if Augustine had just gone down, if he had held his ground, he would have gotten the charge.
Miles Thompson's at the line. Kellen Binder got the foul for Centennial. SLP were 4 for 4 from the free throw line in the first half. Foul shots were not a big factor.
And now SLP picking up full court, just trying to bother the ball handlers. There's not really a good ball handler other than Dreesen out there. It's been a long time since Centennial has scored. We don't have the official stats, but it has been a while. And it feels like it's been 5-6 minutes, the drought for Centennial.
It was
turned it over right there again.
45-41. So right now it is a 12-3 run for the Cougars. 7:20 left to go as Spring Lake Park are opening up their largest lead of the evening at 13.
Centennial about to go deeper in its bench here as well as Burgoon continues to sit.
And that one knocked down, much needed for Centennial. Jackson Dreesen with his first bucket of the second half. He's got 24, adding on that career best mark, the sophomore.
7-3 of the game for Dreesen, and they needed that one in the worst way.
As that one rattles out from King, we should mention Burgoon right now sitting because he's got 4 fouls for Centennial. Dreesen can't chain them together back-to-back with another try from 3. Timeout coming from Spring Lake Park at Oliver Major.
Well, that would be a good reason if Burgoon is sitting because of 4 fouls.
I had him for 3, but now it's back to a 10-point game. Largest advantage of the night had been at 13 just a few moments ago.
I just think you can't afford to sit Burgoon too long, because otherwise, by the time you bring him back, the Panthers are going to have sprinted away from you.
And run it at a time. At what point do you deploy the Ty Burgoon cheat code with 6:40 left to go? Bill Hubb says should have been 5 minutes ago.
I just don't think when he's that important to your team that you can afford to have him sitting for long stretches of time, especially when your team is struggling so much offensively. But obviously, Spencer Waldvogel knows his team, and he's done a tremendous job. And his uncle is a good friend of ours here, Nick Walsh. So he must be good people.
We get crack Centennial analysis when we got Nick Walsh in the booth. We'll settle for Bill Hupp, though, too, doing a nice job here. I'm Matt Dean as we're bringing you this one on North Metro TV. It has been an entertaining game. This was a red-hot start from distance in particular. These two teams combined for 14 made threes in the first half. Have not slowed down much since, but Centennial with their star in foul trouble. Ty Burgoon sitting with 4 personals right now, and he will continue to ride the bench with 6:40 left to go. But as we mentioned, for how much longer can the Cougars afford to not have him out there? Centennial, early in the year, Burgoon had a 30-point game in the opener this year. He kind of carried the offense. They've started to get some better outside shooting that have opened up the lanes for him, but that outside shooting and the drives to the basket kind of go hand in hand, and it's going the other way where those good looks from three haven't been coming without number 2 on the floor. Johnson with a nice hook shot. He's shown that off a couple of times. Still trying to show that the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's game is not dead, even though he's no longer the NBA's all-time scoring leader.
Yeah, he's such a load down there, and Centennial just has no one that can handle him down low.
Nice switch to the left hand. Kellen Binder drew the contact. He is going to go to the line for Centennial. They will get Ashton Tucker, 22, for the foul. That is going to be the senior's first. Binder, occasional starter for the Cougars this year. Big defense and rebounding guy. He averages about 4 points per game, 3 boards. Player that made the jump from the 9A squad to varsity this year.
Yeah, one of those many sophomores that is contributing, and you know, it's a learning year, right? So you have Burgoon asserting himself. He'll be an impact player as a senior, and obviously a lot of these Cougars, Waldvogel is hoping will make the league next year and help his team make the league.
Strong lay-in off the window from Braden Talso, and right after it had been cut to a 10-point deficit, back to SLP being a dozen up, 61-49. This is a Centennial team, remember, who just held 7th-ranked Maple Grove to 36 points the other night as a key triples knocked down from Luke Gunderman, a junior out there for his first action of the night. Johnson is fouled and will earn a trip to the foul line for SLP.
Yeah, Johnson cleaning up the miss from Kyrie Shaw, doing what he should do. As you take a look at Luke Gunderman coming off the bench and hitting that triple, and Ty Burgoon set to check in after this first free throw and return to the Centennial lineup. We saw Johnson shoot free throws in warm-ups, and he looked good.
75% foul shooter. There is the man of the night, Ty Burgoon, coming back in, sitting on the 4 personal fouls. He has scored 15 points tonight, but Waldvogel running out of options here down the stretch with that gap continuing to widen. Johnson goes 1 for 2. Panthers force the steal with Talso. It's ahead to Shaw. He'll take it to the rack and score.
Such a football player mentality to just lower the shoulder and go to the right-hand layup, but Talso, you can tell he plays safety in football because he has read a couple plays like that tonight and made some spectacular saves.
Burgoon will try after the Treason miss and convert on the tray. Ty Burgoon with 18 points. It is now 4 straight games where he has scored 15 or more. He was averaging 21 a game over his last 3 coming into the night. Inside to Johnson, turns and faces up to draw the foul and finish the bucket. Kellen Binder will take the personal. Johnson now to 15 on the evening. He's been in double figures now in 14 and 19 this year for Spring Lake Park, including each of his last 5 games. Pulled in 15 boards and had 11 points in the loss at Elk River on Tuesday. He'll finish off the 3-point play, a sweet 16 for Bo Johnson as the Cougars take it up. Dreesen passes up a good look from 3 and gets it on to Gunderman, around to Burgoon, who leaves it off the front iron. Mikey Say with numbers, left-handed layup, no good. Shaw will follow, but they're going to say the foul before the make. That's not going to count from Kyrie Shaw, and they're going to send Mikey Say to the free throw line instead for SLP.
Say has been so dynamic in transition tonight. He attacks Henry Perner right there with the left hand, and then Shaw really wanted that and one, but they called the foul, so probably the right. Say can't believe it, but probably the right call. Say had a really good first half, really good start to the game. Cooled off, he's been pretty quiet, but he's still been involved, still active on the defensive end, still providing that activity and that athleticism.
Bill, you left the low-hanging fruit of Say It Ain't So for Shaw under there. Mikey Say is at the line, and he'll go 1 for 2 on that trip.
I'm rubbing off on you in all the best ways.
I would argue the worst, but here's where we are.
13-point lead here for the Panthers with under 5 to go.
Cougars just knocked the defensive rebound off the miss out, and Shaw will cash in on an easy bucket off the window. 9 points for Kyrie Shaw, the senior who averages 8 a game. 4:12 left to go now in this ball game.
So much of basketball is just knowing how to cut and how to move off ball, and Kyrie Shaw curled around from the right block, caught it, and laid it in.
Power move toward the basket. Bo Johnson's got all the power in the world, denying the entry from Jacob Hosfield. And that one a tough miss that time from Remy.
Say with a beautiful pass to Remy, as Spring Lake Park playing with all kinds of confidence here, knowing they've more than likely got a win sewn up.
We saw both these teams play pretty quick in the first half, but by their general principles in the way they play, the Cougars are more of a half-court team. So this is, considering that, looks like an even bigger deficit right now as they trail by 15.
Yeah, they need a couple more of those Driesen threes.
Looking for the sophomore to get hot again. He's got 24 points tonight, a career high. Turner is fouled by Johnson. And now Bo Johnson, big threat down low for the Panthers, has to worry about sitting on 4 fouls. And Burgoon we saw sit for about 6-7 minutes because he had 4 fouls. It feels like that's more of a danger with a big and a rim protector like number 54.
Yeah, but if you're Spring Lake Park, under 3.5 minutes left, you're probably feeling okay about the fact that Johnson, although they're taking him out, but Johnson, it's okay if you're in this kind of foul trouble this late. And, you know, to be honest, they going smaller against the Centennial team isn't bad, because the Centennial team in general is pretty small. Ooh!
Couple of misses
what
from
a
Turner.
block from behind by Talso. Oh my gosh, what a sequence of events there. Talso came back after the free throw and blocked that shot from behind. Can't wait to see the replay as he got Gunderman. Look at this pass. Great chase down block. And then Gunderman swishes the 3 and goes to the line for the 4-point play. So tit for tat here at Spring Lake Park.
Gunderman can't finish off that 4-point play, and reaching around to try to force the tie up. Instead, he's going to be charged of the foul. It's Jacob Hosfield.
Can't say I've ever seen a chase down block on a 3-point attempt, but I like that. So, feels like something LeBron would do. Speaking of the new all-time leading scorer in NBA history.
This will put SLP into a 1-and-1 situation here with Brock Remy, a 6'6" junior, up at the line.
Spring Lake Park potentially going 5-3 in their last 8 after that slow start, and maybe Coach Major has found something here, found the rotation, and you can just tell his team's playing with a lot more confidence in 2023.
Right, we talked about how it's a pretty new roster from last year. Lost the Kinsey twins, 4 of the top 5 scorers from that unit, basically everybody but Bo Johnson gone. And you bring back this new unit, they struggle maybe a little bit worse than you think. 0-7 was the worst start for Spring Lake Park in at least the last 18 years. They began the year 1-10. Nice backdoor cut, but no finish from Hosfield. As this is taken up, and an easy lay-in for Kyrie Shaw. That'll get him to double figures. But you don't expect the team to start to find more results, Bill, when you talk about getting into the grind that is the Northwest Suburban Conference schedule, but that's exactly what Oliver Major's Panthers have done. Answer 3 here is rimmed in from Jacob Hosfield.
Well, depending on what your non-conference schedule is and how new your coach is and everything, I mean, yes, he was an assistant here for 22 years, so it's not like the kids needed to get to know him, but maybe he does things a little different than Coach Guzzi, is, like you say, looks to add to his 13 points on the night, but it's just going to be an adjustment period, and the thing is, too, you lose 4 of your top 5 scorers, so which kids are going to step up, right? Which kids are going to take on leadership roles, and how do you play when guys like Peyton Thompson and the Kinsey twins, who were such offensive focal points, aren't there anymore?
And as we've mentioned tonight, Freddie Anthony was supposed to be a huge piece in that backcourt. You had Say coming back. Here's the Panthers force another steal. Say with a great lead pass. Oh, to open it up to the cutter Remy. He couldn't finish. The Cougars fling it up, and Burgoon underneath the basket is able to lay it in to get the junior to 20 points on the night. But this one's starting to get away from Centennial as it's still 74-63. Full timeout taken here by Oliver Major and the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, it's really been for Centennial tonight. You know, Ty Burgoon in the second half, Jacob Jackson Driesen in the first half. And, you know, between Burgoon and Driesen, they've hit 11 three-pointers. And it's obviously kept Centennial in this game. But, you know, Spring Lake Park has been the much more sort of consistent team. And really, they've sort of led pillar to post in this contest.
Bo Johnson, as good as advertised. He's sitting right now on the bench with 4 fouls, but 16, just a point off of Braden Talso, who, I don't know, quietly has scored 17 points tonight. It's just been so balanced from everybody up and down the lineup. But Talso, all of a sudden, we talked about how important he is on the defensive end. He's contributing in a big way offensively tonight as well.
Yeah, 3 3-pointers, 8 in the first half, 9 here in the second half. And he's really doing it defensively as well. And you take a look at Spring Lake Park's upcoming schedule.
Yeah, they will have a host game against Columbia Heights coming up next for the Panthers. Just 7 games left. There's only one you don't see on that schedule graphic left in the regular season before we start talking about section playoffs. These two teams, we talked about how the non-conference schedule, that's a lot of times when you play a lot of your section opponents. There's probably not a whole lot they can do to change their destinies in terms of the section seeding at this point. But start to play your best basketball, see what happens at the end of the year, as that one's pitched up by Remy to miss underneath the basket for SLP. Right now, a couple of teams who are probably looking like maybe they can nudge their way up to a 6 in 2 sections. The Panthers in particular with a really tough group that includes the likes of Park Center and Maple Grove. The Cougars in a maybe a little bit more doable section 7 that features the favorites Andover.
Yeah, I mean, you know, either way, it's a tough draw. Obviously, you want to avoid that 8 seed and avoid playing Park Center as long as you have to. But more than likely, if you're in that section, you're going to eventually have to tangle the Pirates.
This is at the free throw line right now for Centennial. Jacob Hosfield, sophomore, now has 7, make it 8 on the evening as he knocks down both those tries from the free throw line. 3 of his 8 tonight have come from the stripe. Talso will take it up. He's had a standout performance. No look pass, trying to get it to Johnson instead into the hands of Hosfield. Inside 2 to play. Johnson comes up with just a big body block there, stuffing it away. Here's Talso trying to lay it in off the window, too strong.
And right there, Johnson, what we talked about earlier, he stayed straight up and down. Hosfield went right into his arm, and he got the turnover.
Try from 3, airballed that time. A follow and a foul here. Stop and play up on the whistle.
4 players now in double figures for Spring Lake Park in this game. 4 starters to be specific, and that one's one of those things where it's against your instinct, but with 1:26 left, you just concede the layup and go from there. But foul committed and sends Centennial to the free throw line in Charlie Augustine. But yeah, 24 and 20, like we said, with Burgoon and Driesen, and they have carried the load here tonight for Centennial, and just not enough contributions from other players in their lineup. Guys like DiAugustino, who normally averages 7.5, and Ball averages 5, Josh Lee 5.2, and those kids have been rather quiet tonight.
Augustine's on the score sheet with that made free throw. We've seen a lot of players get involved in terms of scoring tonight, as that one is pitched up by Thompson. Foul here, going to send the Panthers to the free throw line again. We've seen 8 different scores for Centennial in this game, and 8 different Panthers have all scored with some balanced lineups for both sides. Although, Bill, as you were talking about, it has been a rough go of it outside of Burgoon and Driesen, and in particular after a long stretch where Burgoon was in foul trouble. Miles Thompson, the junior, at the free throw line here. He's got 7 tonight.
His brother Peyton now starring for the Bethel Royals in the MIAC. Obviously was a great player here for Spring Lake Park. Really good fit at the D3 level, probably a high D3 player, and that's why he's contributing as just a freshman.
Burgoon tried to force it inside to Perner. Still trying to create that trap ahead of the scorers table are the Cougars, even though it's a big deficit. Here as they trail by 12 in the late goings, 57 seconds left to go. Both teams right now in at least the single bonus. Shaw is up here to shoot 2, as the Cougars have already reached the 10 foul threshold here. Bill Hupp's headed over courtside, where he will be chatting with a player here post game. And it looks like SLP are going to storm out of here with their 4th home win, their 6th of the season. That was Burgoon hoisting on the 3. Went down to ground thinking he was fouled. Spencer Waldvogel throwing up his hands at the officials, wanting the call for his top player. And instead they're going to charge a foul to Centennial's Henry Perner, which will be the 4th for the senior. And again, it's Shaw shooting 2 for SLP. Columbia Heights, as we said, is next on the docket for Spring Lake Park. That'll be a Monday night game, 7 p.m. tip. They'll follow that up with a Wednesday contest against Blaine. So the first of 3 in a row at home for SLP, and only 7 remaining in the regular season on the schedule. Gunderman's closed out, feeds it inside. Burgoon will finish at the rim, and a timeout coming from Centennial's side. We'll take a 30-second timeout here. Spencer Waldvogel wants to talk it through here. Starting to get a little bit interesting. 9-point game. And certainly the Cougars aren't packing it in just yet. Matt Dean here bringing you this one on North Metro TV. We'll have a post-game interview with Bill Hupp coming up courtside. Gives us a chance to check in on what the Cougars have coming up. They will continue a swing on the road as they head at Anoka, where they will play next week Wednesday. Then the Blaine Bengals will be a home tilt for the Cougars to follow in a rivalry matchup. Blaine took the first in the game that was played at Blaine High School early this year. Always one that the Cougars get up for against their big rivals as they get a rematch in Circle Pines in the second go-around. Foul here coming on the inbounds play, and the Cougars running out of time here with 32.7 left to go. Are going to foul the rest of the way and hope that they can get SLP to miss some free throws here. Mikey Say is a 70% foul shooter. On the night, he's 3 of 6 here this evening. Say will knock in the first with, again, the Panthers were shooting 2 here regardless. 14 from the senior point guard, 3-sport athlete who competes in the football field, the baseball diamond, and of course hoops here this winter. 15 for Mikey Say, as that should just about salt it away. Here's at 79-68, a easy lay-in for Jackson Driesen, who's had an unbelievable performance for Centennial tonight. 26 points, a career high, of which 21 came in the first half. Another immediate foul from the Cougars, as it's a 9-point game. As Bill Hupp mentioned just before he headed off, Centennial are still going to be winless on the road this year. They're looking to build upon that marquee win when they hosted Maple Grove at home on Tuesday. Centennial are 0-10 on the season away from their home gym. They had lost 12 of 13 games before coming up with that big victory the other night on Tuesday. Here's Kyrie Shaw, now has 16. The Panthers take it away and will hold with 10 seconds left to go. Cougars are going to back off, and Spring Lake Park are going to march to victory 81-70 to improve them to 6-13 on the season. What a performance by the Panthers. What a turnaround by Spring Lake Park, as they are now 5-3 since starting the season, 1-10, and really showing out, competing, and hanging around in a lot of games. They get a big win as the struggles continue for Centennial, despite that big win on Tuesday night against 7th-ranked Maple Grove. Final score in this one, Centennial 81, Spring Lake Park 70. We're going to step aside for a break. We will come on back to wrap things up here from the booth on North Metro TV.
Lino Lakes is the gateway to the metro area, just minutes north of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Conveniently located on I-35W, this growing city still maintains its North Country feel. Lino Lakes is a safe, fun, and affordable community that values its award-winning schools. Outdoor lovers will discover miles of hiking, biking, and water trails. Growing businesses will find premier development opportunities with great freeway visibility and ready to help your businesses grow. Come to live, work, and play in Lino Lakes.
Back here in the Panther gym, this was a really tight contest. The SLP led by 1 at the half, went up 4-0, and never trailed as the Panthers run away with it in the second half and come away with the 81-70 victory. Spring Lake Park taking it here over Centennial. It was the 6th straight victory for SLP over the Cougars in this Cat Clash rivalry series, with a matchup of a couple of our North Metro TV schools here tonight. Leaders for the Panthers in this one, they get 17 points out of Braden Talso. That is a season high and just the 3rd game in double figures for the senior and lockdown defender. They got 15 from Mikey Say, 16 from Bo Johnson, and 16 from Kyrie Shaw. Really well-balanced scoring attack. A lot of choices Bill Hupp could have went with, but he is down with the senior standout, Braden Talso, and Mikey Say to talk to courtside.
Killing time because he's interviewing them over there. No, when we were talking, we were in break, and then I just had to stall before they were ready over there.
And we play great together.
Forced a lot of turnovers, 6 steals in the second half specifically, really jumping in the passing lanes. Was it something that you felt like you could convert points from defense to offense?
Definitely. We hated number 21 have 21 points at half, and me personally, we wanted to shut that down. So collectively, we just did not want him to score, and then collectively as a team didn't want the.
We'll talk to Mikey Say now for a minute. And, Mikey, you had a real lockdown effort on Ty Burgoom, who came in averaging 21 points in his last 3 games. You took a lot of pride, though, it seemed like, in locking him down.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely on the scout, on the film. You know, he definitely leads their team, leads their offense real good. So disrupting him early was the goal, and that's what we got. That's what we did in the first half. Still let him score a little too much, but like you said, came out of halftime with a defensive purpose, and that definitely helped us get the win.
The 3-pointers were really falling in the first half for you guys as well. That must have felt like a lot of fun, just the frenetic back and forth pace of the game in that first half.
Yeah, definitely. We know we can score with the best of them. We know we can put the ball in from deep and in the paint, but yeah, it was coming out of halftime playing defense. That was going to get us the win. We know we can score on them all game, so defense was one up for us.
Really slow start this season, but you've now won 5 of your last 8 games. What's been the difference here in 2023?
Yeah, for sure. We lost our captain early, broke his hand, broke his arm, so he had to get surgery and came back. So now we're getting our team back and went through a lot of adversity that made us stronger together early, like you said. So definitely coming later in the season, we'll take that for strength, and we'll keep going high.
Same question for you, Braden. What's been the difference here in 2023?
Yeah, for sure. As you said, we started off a little shaky, and we knew that wasn't how we played and how we should be doing, so we wanted to turn that around. And just like Mikey said, our captain, we got hurt, so we didn't have our full squad together yet. And now that we're starting to put the pieces together, we're going to be a team that you got to look out for.
Well, a big win for Spring Lake Park here tonight. And we'll throw it back to Matt Dean. Big win for Spring Lake Park here tonight. 81-70, they defeat Centennial here at home. Is that good? I don't know.
Until he did not knock one in from downtown on Tuesday. Here's Kite. Centennial able to get for an answer here. Spring Lake Park entertaining Centennial in a Northwest Suburban Conference. Centennial traveling to Spring Lake Park to take on the Panthers in a Northwest Suburban Conference matchup on Thursday night. The threes were raining early. Kyrie Shaw would get the party started. These two teams combined for 14 shots that were hit from beyond the arc. Mikey Say would connect. He led the Panthers at the break with 10 first half points and added a couple of threes. It was a 1-point game at the half. Say with the runner would get blocked. It was the Panthers running up and down the floor all night long. Andrew King would get involved, connected on the three. Talso really shined, the senior guard, with 17 points to lead the way for the Panthers in this one. Big Bo Johnson finished with 16 on 6 of 7 shooting. The Panthers roll to the win, 81-70, the final, as SLP takes it.